I do not know the size of an angel, but I know there is always at least one around me who is capable of planting one foot on land and the other on the sea. I cannot explain how such a presence moves unseen through the stillness of morning or the chaos of noon, yet I know it is there, watching, shielding, warring on my behalf in realms my eyes cannot comprehend. I know that having God in my life comes with benefits too many to number. There are health benefits, because He wills that I prosper and be in good health even as my soul prospers. There are protection benefits, because those who are with me, heavenly hosts unseen, outnumber anything that could ever rise against me. In the hidden corners of time and space, angels encamp around those who fear Him, and in that knowledge I find rest. I do not know the size of the beams that hold the earth upright, yet the ground beneath my feet is firm. I acknowledge its shape, not from textbooks or diagrams, but because I see the fingerprints of God in every horizon, every stretch of mountain ridge, every curved coastline kissed by waves that never overstep their bounds. Surely the earth sits in the palm of His hand. I do not know what holds the stars in the sky or what keeps the planets in orbit, yet I trust the one who hung them there. I do not need to see the scaffolding of the universe to believe it was masterfully constructed by a designer who needs no blueprint. I do not know the color of the wind, but I know its mood. I felt it gently brush my face as if to say, "You are not alone." I've seen it turn the leaves in graceful dance and heard it whisper through the trees in tones more ancient than time. And I've watched it rage, bending trees like straw, overturning the mighty works of men. It must be the breath of God, gentle enough to comfort, mighty enough to correct. I do not know where it sleeps or where it rises, but I know it listens to its maker. Its nature tells me I am small yet somehow significant, because the one who sends the wind knows my name. I do not know the size of the sun or the moon. I cannot measure the heat that warms the earth or the light that silvers the night. I do not know how many chords make up the song of the nightingale, or what note carries the soul of its song, but I do know that melody in the early morning feels like hope. It feels like something beyond this world. It is healing. It is whole. It is, I believe, a tune that once echoed in Eden and still flows from the throne of God, sent to earth not just for beauty, but to remind us of the one who gives every good and perfect gift. I do not know the day I was formed, or what time the spark of life ignited within my mother's womb. I do not remember the moment when cells began to multiply, forming limbs, organs, and thoughts not yet spoken. But I do know that I was fearfully and wonderfully made. I know that I am here on purpose, for a purpose, and that purpose was sealed by redemption. I know my life was chosen, not random or accidental, and though I do not know all the reasons why, I trust that the one who formed me holds the answers. He knit me together in secret and wrote the days of my life before one of them came to be. I have never seen God in all His majesty. I have not walked His golden streets or stood in His radiant courts, but I have felt Him, in grace that surprises, in mercy that restores, in peace that cannot be explained. I have seen His love work in broken places. I have felt His presence when I should have felt alone. He works in ways that are not like man, and He never fails to complete His plan. What He starts, He finishes, with precision, with power, and with tender perfection. Even in my questions, I trust His character. Even in my doubts, I cling to His truth. I do not know the brain's full capacity. I do not know how this complex organ stores laughter, sorrow, knowledge, dreams, and fear in the same space without crowding. I do not know how memories from decades past can return in vivid detail while today's errands are forgotten in a moment. I have never seen the book stored in the human mind, but I know its storage is vast. It has no shelves, no labels, no drawers, and yet it holds lifetimes. Words spoken years ago still echo in our thoughts. Songs heard in childhood still play when we least expect them. Ideas, facts, faces, all cataloged without any filing system we can comprehend. It must have been made by God. No human could construct something so intricate, so alive, so full of invisible wisdom. I do not know how God mixed the colors of the rainbow, how He blended red into orange, orange into yellow, and so on, forming a promise in the sky. I do not know how He carved the mountains, What chisel he used, how many ages passed before the ridges stood proud and majestic. But I know he is the greatest painter. No human artist can capture the depth of a sunset or the shimmer of dew on morning grass. No sculptor can rival the smooth lines of a rolling hill or the sharp defiance of a cliff's edge. He is the master of light and shadow, of form and flow. He paints with color, with sound, with silence. The mountains tell me of his strength. The ocean waves speak of his rhythm. Waterfalls thunder with his voice. Forests hum with his life. Every tree, every stone, every grain of sand proclaims his excellence. I look at the face of a lion and see courage. I look at the eyes of a kitten and see curiosity. I look at the mane of a horse, the feathers of a robin, the majesty of a bald eagle, and I am left in awe. I do not know how these creatures came to be so distinct, so purposeful, so perfectly suited to their environment. But I know they did not create themselves. I do not know the language of stars or the silence between galaxies. I do not know what fills the void of space or what lies beyond the furthest edge of creation. But I know the one who holds it all. I know that nothing exists apart from his will. I know that he who placed the stars also counts the hairs on my head. That the God who speaks in galaxies' form is the same God who listens when I whisper in prayer. I do not know the moment when time will end, when all things will be made new, and every knee will bow and every tongue confess. I do not know how the trumpet will sound or what heaven's gates will look like when they open. But I know they will. I know the King is coming. I know that justice will reign and love will win and sorrow will be no more. And so I live in the mystery. I rest in the not knowing, because I trust the one who knows it all. I marvel in the wonder. I am humbled by the grandeur. I am quieted by the peace that comes from simply believing that some things are too beautiful to understand, too holy to dissect, too divine to explain. And all I can say is, I do not know, but I believe, I trust, I worship. I am grateful, because in not knowing, I have found something deeper. I have found awe. I have found reverence. I have found God.